Hello and welcome. My name's Melissa Porter.
And my name's Nick Freeman.
Welcome to The Life Coach.
I'm the lawyer.
Join us as together we tackle your toughest problems using our unique combination of wisdom and experience.
Hello.
Hi,
Hello,
Jewel.
Jewel. Melissa Porter, Nick Freeman. Hi.
How you doing, Jewel?
Hi, how are you going?
Yeah, good, thank you. Good.
So we're excited to have a chat with you.
I have a bit of a dilemma.
Tell us what's going on.
Basically, I feel as though I've been catfished and not in a dating sense, in a roommate sense. So essentially, to give you guys a quick backstory, my partner and I had a spare room available in our house that we're leasing, but we decided to get someone in to rent out the room to help out with the rent. So we interviewed a bunch of people and a girl came through that we were happy with. She said she was really clean, tidy, all of the rest, like all of the good things that you want to hear. But it has turned out to be horrible.
I'm so sorry.
In what way?
Number one being she is almost the messiest person I have ever come across in terms of she will leave food out for days out in our lounge room and communal living areas. She...
Jewel, can I stop you for a second? Nick, do you know what catfishing means? It's
I
not
know,
fishing for cats.
No, catfishing is luring someone into a relationship by a false account on social media. That's what catfishing actually is.
Is that what you mean, Jewel?
Is that how she contacted you on social media? And has she lied about
what
she is?
What I mean by catfishing is I feel like she lied about who she was because I guess what we wanted in a housemate was someone that was going to be tidy. You know, we live we work from home a lot of the time, and we needed someone who was aligned with us, lifestyle wise. And she said to us that she.
Can I just ask you a couple of questions? Can I ask you a couple of questions, Jules? Have you got a written agreement with her?
Yes. Well, it's just a basic lease agreement.
And how long's she been with you for?
She's been with us for 4 months now.
Okay, and how often does she pay rent? On what interval?
On a monthly basis.
Okay, and what does the contract, the agreement say in terms of when things don't work out? What's the notice period?
So the notice period, I believe, is 1 month's notice.
Okay.
But
and do you have a deposit?
Yes, we have a bond from her, which is a deposit, yes.
Okay. Have you been to see an Australian lawyer, landlord and tenant lawyer?
No, I haven't.
Well,
not yet.
Isn't that what
4 months.
You know? You might be able to get a court order, a restraining order. You might be able to get an eviction order. You know, if I was you tomorrow morning, Jules, I will be finding a local landlord and tenant lawyer, explaining the situation, and saying what are my options, and then you can make an informed choice. Okay. Did you take any references?
Good question.
No, we didn't. She was from the UK.
Well,
she came from
that's
the
not
UK.
a good reference.
Okay,
so
but that's...
in future, Jules, just as a life lesson, whether it be someone to work for you, clean for you, whatever, always get independent corroboration as to who they say they are. Always. So you know, this has given you the opportunity of dealing with a difficult situation and learning in future maybe you could deal with things slightly differently.
Can I ask a question then about the recruitment process? How did you advertise? What mediums did you use?
There's a website called flatmates.com, and essentially you upload a profile and it has, you know, where you work and, you know, like where you're from, or it's quite a detailed profile that you can provide. So her profile was beaming. It seemed perfect. She was working at a reputable firm here in Sydney. So we seemed like it was a perfect match. But
what does she do
the
as a
profile
job?
couldn't have been more opposite.
What's her job?
She was a manager at a digital marketing firm here in Sydney.
Right, okay. So I would also ask the lawyer about contacting the website that you got it from, and also whether you should tell the employer.
Yeah.
So just ask those two questions as well.
Interesting.
Because if someone's causing you grief, you can defend yourself. I'm not saying in a malicious way,
No.
but if someone, if they're regulated in any form, then the regulator or the people who employ that person is entitled to know. Okay,
Excellent.
so I would consider that as well. Okay, and one final question: do you have in your contract or agreement a clause that says, whilst 1 month will be the normal notice period, if there are exceptional circumstances, it can be terminated toot sweet straight away?
It's good.
I don't think so, no.
But that's such a good tip. That's such a good tip for anybody that's thinking about letting or renting out a spare room within their house to avoid this sort of problem.
But what stopped you serving notice straight away when you realise, if she's leaving food out for days on end? Presumably you're saying, listen, what on earth are you doing? We're not tolerating this.
Well, not presumably, because not everybody behaves in the same way as you.
Okay.
How have you dealt with it,
How have you
Jewel?
dealt with it, Jules? Sorry. I do
Well,
apologise.
I confronted her. To be honest, what I explained just then is really the minuscule
Sure,
things.
but-
A lot of it has been getting drunk and getting angry at people that we have over,
Embarrassing.
vomiting in the communal areas. Like, it's pretty bad. So I sat down and had what I would say a nice conversation, just saying, look, I don't think it's working out. And I was told that I was bullying her.
She
And
told you
that-
that she was you were bullying her.
Yes, I apparently am a bully for
Interesting.
confronting her. So
Now that's fascinating.
She has brought to us that we should be the ones to move out, and she
Wait a
should
minute,
be the ones to
it's
stay
your
in the
flat,
property.
isn't it? Is it your flat?
Well, we don't own it. We're leasing.
Yeah, it's your lease and you're subletting. Do you need the landlord's permission to sublet it? Is what you're doing in fact illegal?
It is legal. She's on the lease.
Oh, she's on the lease as well. So there's. Oh,
Yeah.
so you're.
Yes,
oh,
that's
right.
where the
oh,
problem
right.
is.
Ah, you've got. I thought you got a flat and you've taken in a roommate. I didn't realise you shared
No.
the lease. That's hugely
She's on the
problematic.
lease now.
That's hugely problematic. I'm afraid. I mean, I can tell you what the law is in England, but it's going to be different in Australia.
Can you tell us the law in England?
Well, you're left in a situation where really you're going to have to come to an agreement with the third tenant as to how we're going to proceed forward. Either she takes over the lease and you get the landlord's permission, the lessor's permission to say, I'm going to sign my name off it. What period has this been taken for? Why don't you and your boyfriend give notice and leave and find somewhere else? That must be the most
Because
expeditious.
it's a beautiful property.
I understand
we loved this place.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Jules,
I understand
I'm
that.
disagreeing. No, I'm
Okay,
disagreeing.
But the point is, Jules, can I just say from a legal perspective, you are going to struggle if the lease is in 3 names to get her off it.
I know.
And just being realistic, do you want to spend the next year or more living with this impossible situation, which is going to get worse? Because obviously if she's saying you're bullying, there's going to be incidents that's going to happen. It is going to escalate. Or do you say, listen, we've got to make the best of a bad job here. This isn't going to work because I guarantee you, someone is going to sort of push someone, hit someone, and then you're crossing the criminal line, aren't you? In the moment you're civil, you're in the civil arena. But to live with someone who's now accusing you of bullying because you're holding them to task, holding them to account about leaving food around for days, it just doesn't work. And my advice will be...
She's clearly the type of person who demonstrates bad behaviour. And when somebody pulls her up on her poor behaviour,
doesn't accept responsibility.
she doesn't accept responsibility and feels criticised by it.
So you
that
could
is
call
a
her
dangerous person.
That's exactly right.
Yeah.
That is exactly right.
Yeah.
But I feel like letting her win would be me just letting her walk all over me.
But I think that's your ego talking, isn't it?
Like,
I understand.
I don't know if that's
I
my
think,
ego.
Jules, that's your ego. Do you want to live in this environment ad infinitum, or do you want to say I can't cope with this anymore, or do you think you can cope with it and just deal with it because the flat's so nice? You've got to decide that.
Look, this is a disaster on many levels, because, this catfishing is clearly something that, is an age-old concept because there are people that just lie about who they are. And nowadays we've called it catfishing. So this is a situation that it's a terrible situation to be in. You have a flat that you love. Okay. But for you, having made a choice to include her on the tenancy agreement, that's a failure on your behalf.
But
just a second. That's a failure on your behalf because, there's a part of you that's rushed into a legal situation, which is what Nick's referring to, that now is going to have a negative effect on the quality of your life. You're potentially going to have to move out to avoid being threatened. And there are humans in this world that are, they're called sociopaths, psychopaths, that have absolutely no compassion or care about another human's needs. Narcissists, we sometimes refer to them. And if, like I'm hearing, your flat is beautiful, you and your partner love your flat, there are people that will do whatever it takes to get whatever they want at any cost. And the cost is going to be you moving out, Jewel.
Or it might be legally you can eject her. It might be you can get an eviction order because of her unreasonable behaviour. If you're on the lease first, I suspect that because she's not complying with the conditions of the lease, and there will be conditions there that, and on that basis you might be able to evict her. So I would tomorrow morning, Monday morning, assuming everything's open in Australia on a Monday morning, get myself down to a local lawyer and see what your options are. And I suspect you could go to the court and get an order to evict her. And you could say to her, if you can get that, you can say, listen, if you don't go, I'm going to do this, and I will be applying for costs against you if this order is successful. So you make an informed choice. And I'm not going to be unreasonable. I'm going to give you 2 weeks to find somewhere else, or 4 weeks, whatever the lawyer decides. But I suspect that may well be a realistic and legal option for you.
What are some examples of unreasonable behaviour?
Well, we have getting drunk pretty much every single night, and I find when she gets drunk, she turns into a completely different person, which terrifies me. And also just really loud, obnoxious behaviour, bringing over random guys as well, and then she'll leave to work and they'll still be in the house. So I feel unsafe with these rando guys in the house.
Yeah.
So that's just, for me, is just an uncomfortable situation to be in.
It's a horrible situation, Jules. Please go and see a lawyer tomorrow.
Almost a completely different side of a human that I first met.
There's different layers when it comes to catfishing, because it's okay, there's a lot of people, we have people around us who pretend they're somebody else on social media, and then in real life, their life's very different. But when there is a threat to human life, where you think that because there's a random person in your home, your life is at risk.
It's intolerable.
I think this is...
Absolutely. That's why my advice is
this is another level.
Deal with it straight away. Absolutely. I mean, what she's doing, I mean, it's verging on criminality, but just go and see a landlord and tenant lawyer and take the lease with you. And I'm reasonably confident that she's in breach of the terms of the lease, and you will be able to evict her.
I agree. I didn't think about it
ultimately, if I'm right about that, and you have that discussion with her before you start those proceedings, she may see good sense. Because otherwise it's going to end up costing a lot of money as well as a home.
And Jewel, you have something that you've created with your partner. You've created a beautiful home.
It's supposed to be a safe haven.
Yeah, it's a safe haven. It's your sanctuary. And there's a small failing on your behalf. You've trusted that somebody that somebody is not... is as they said they were, but they are not. So you've trusted somebody's delusional lie about themselves. But for me, this is now an opportunity to get what is yours.
You need to document very carefully all the incidents, the dates, the incidents, everything that's wrong, so you can present it to the lawyer, say these are the problems.
Does any of that help, Jewel?
100%. I feel like it snapped me back into reality. Like,
Good.
I need to act rather than just kind of sit back and watch it unfold.
Absolutely not.
If you don't change anything, nothing's going to change.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, no, it definitely helps.
Well, it will change. It's going to get worse, actually. All right, Jules.
Thanks,
lovely to talk to you. Good luck.
Thank you.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
Bye,
Bye.
Jewel. That was good advice, Mr. Freeman.
Well, I wouldn't actually call it catfishing. I understand, because what happens is we have these expressions and they're stretched and stretched. What's happened is that the tenant isn't what she's supposed to be. That's it. And often
she's just a liar. She's delusional. She lives with a mask, which most people do.
But obviously, if she's going to put down her true CV, she's never going to get a room, is she? So, but what's wrong is the vetting procedure for me.
Agreed.
From the
Jewel.
company. No, not from Jules is wrong because she's not. But the company that have advertised her, what checks do they make to ensure that the people are telling the truth?
Okay, so what this is a platform.
It's a platform, yeah.
Yeah, and you'll put a picture and a little bit of information about you.
Yeah.
So, for example, I would write, I have OCD.
No,
I'm very
I understand
clean and
that,
tidy.
But you're on. But what do they not have to undergo some sort of diligence? Presumably they charge for using this platform. They earn some money out of it. My point is, don't they have a legal responsibility to make sure, do some checks to make sure that actually the person who says she is and is this, I mean, do they have references?
Have you ever been on Match.com or Hinge?
No, I haven't, I'm afraid.
If that legislation was in place, the whole company would be sued constantly. There are so many people who lie. We have people around us in close proximity who lie about who they are. This is a real life issue. And
you know why?
The responsibility needs to fall with the human that is renting out the flat. Okay. We need to learn to trust our instinct. We need to learn to trust. We need to engage in non-verbal communication. I can sense when someone's lying. I can. Right. I can sense when someone walks in a room and their energy is off.
I'm not arguing with you.
And people need to learn
I agree with you. In addition
Don't always blame other people, the rental company, the tenant.
In addition to that, the big corporates need to assume some responsibility for the fee. It's not just a platform, but there are going to be some form of check to make sure that the people who use my platform are actually bona fide. And they would do that very simply by saying, when you come on my platform, I want 2 references, and we're going to check those references out. And what's wrong with that? Then you don't have these problems, do you?
Yeah. I bet the banks wish they could do that as well with all the fraudsters.
I think the public do as well. But the trouble is there's no accountability. From the top to the bottom, people are not accepting responsibility. And these platforms, they charge a lot of money, and they're not actually, in my view, doing due diligence. They're just
Jiu-jitsu.
Jiu-jitsu. I used to do that when I was a young lad. Quite good. Ippon Seonaga.
Yeah.
Taitoshi.
Yeah, but for anybody that wants to rent out a room within
Get references.
Yeah, get references.
Yeah, and check them. Don't just get them.
Trust your instincts.
Check the references.
Yeah.
I mean, we had a situation recently, didn't we? When we had someone doing something for us and we didn't check the references. We had them and we didn't check them, and it didn't work out, and we learnt our lesson and we replaced that particular person and they provided references and they checked them out, and the references were fantastic and the person's fantastic.
Yeah. Good chat. Thank you.
Good chat. Thank you.
If you'd like to be part of our show, please do send us an email to admin@melissaportercoach.com.